Ancient times know many epic battles of thousands of troops. Fortitude in battles at different times was demonstrated by the soldiers of the kingdoms of Asia Minor, Babylonia, Numidia. People from Gaul and Iberia were considered excellent warriors. Huge troops were collected by the rulers of the empires of the Persians and Egyptians. Today we will present you the top 5 most powerful armies of antiquity. 5. Hannibal's army. The list of the best armies in antiquities is opened by the detachments that Carthage provided to its best commander Hannibal for battles with the cohorts of Rome. Unlike the other armies on this list, the vast majority of Carthaginian soldiers were mercenaries. Only 2,500 to 3,000 citizens carried military service. They were part of an infantry unit called the Sacred Band. Most often, Numidians, Spaniards, Libyans and Phoenicians were recruited into the Carthaginian army. Such a mercenary army, consisting exclusively of professional warriors, was a formidable force. The Carthaginians, under the command of Hannibal, defeated several Roman armies in Italy, but were unable to consolidate their success and finish off the enemy. Political intrigues directed against the victorious commander nullified all the successes of the Carthaginian weapons. 4. Army of the Huns. Almost 1,000 years before the Mongols, the Huns showed the civilized peoples the power of the barbarian onslaught from the steppes. The army of thousands of nomads not only went through Europe and Asia with fire and sword, it forced dozens of peoples to withdraw from their homes, fleeing the cruelty of the eastern conquerors. The Huns troops reached their greatest strength under the leadership of Attila. The nomads used mainly only cavalry and used the primitive, but fruitful tactics of a massive onslaught on the enemy. Only the united army of Rome and the Germanic tribes could cope with a large army. Attila was stopped on the Catalonian fields in the Great Battle of the Nations. It is interesting that the strength of the nomads rested only on the personality of their leader. With the death of Attila, the deadly army of the Huns quickly dispersed across Eurasia. 3. United Army of Greek Policies. The cities of ancient Greece could never put up a large army to defend their land. But the Hellenes more than compensated for the small number of soldiers with courage, tactical literacy, and excellent combat training. All this was fully felt by the Persians, when countless hordes of Asian conquerors were beaten in battles over and over again. The core of the united Greek army was the heavy infantry, arranged in phalanx. The lightly armed Persian warriors could not cope with the strong armor of the hoplites, and all the attacks of the Persian cavalry were broken against the phalanx. Landscape played an important role in the success of Greek weapons. The mountainous terrain did not allow the opponents of the Hellenes to fully use their numerical advantage. 2. Roman army. The military detachments of the Roman state were repeatedly defeated by their opponents. But if we evaluate the military power of the army over a long time period, it turns out that the Romans did not know their rivals. Legionnaires conquered vast territories and won countless victories. The Romans modified the art of war. Engineering units became an important part of the army. In this army, everything was thought out to the smallest detail, starting with the equipment of a simple soldier, ending with the arrangement of a camp. Initially, one of the strongest armies of antiquity was formed exclusively from the citizens of the Eternal City. To defend the fatherland with the sword in hand was considered the privilege of true Romans. But with the expansion of Roman possessions, recruits began to recruit residents of the entire Apennine Peninsula, and then representatives of other conquered provinces. By the end of its existence, the Roman army had changed beyond recognition. Now these were not detachments of citizens of Rome, but barbarian mercenaries who, at their own request, overthrew and elevated emperors to the throne. 1. The army of Alexander the Great. The most powerful army of antiquity is the ancient Macedonian army during the time of the kings Philip and Alexander. The victories won by the legendary military leaders are impressive to this day. They defeated and conquered the Greek policies, defeated the Persian regiments. The strength and power of the Macedonian army is emphasized by the fact that during the entire expedition to the east deep into the Persian Empire, the Macedonians practically did not replenish their reserves with new recruits. The size of the army of the young commander was negligible compared to the hordes of the Persians. Just as negligible were the losses of the Macedonians in the battles. Alexander never experienced the bitterness of military defeat, leaving this world before the glory of Macedonian weapons faded. With the end of the era of antiquity, large-scale battles and invincible armies under the command of famous generals became a thing of the past for many years. The decline of civilization had a negative impact on the art of war. Due to the decline in the population, the number of people ready to hold weapons has decreased. Infrequently, early barbarian kings fielded armies of even 10,000 soldiers. Military strategy has also been greatly simplified.